Hey there and welcome to Dark Blue Nutrition. My name is Katie. I'm a registered dietitian and certified personal trainer. And today we're going to talk about 3 things that you can do instead of calorie counting. So I know calorie counting is like the common way that we like to talk about how to monitor your health and nutrition, but really in reality, it's not the best sustainable way to honor your health because it can lead to a really rigid, restrictive mindset around nutrition. And that's really not what's going to help you sustain your health goals long term. So let's talk about some easy ways that you can honor your health without obsessing over a number. The first method that I love to recommend is the plate method. The plate method is something that you can use no matter what you're eating or where you're eating at to ensure that you're having some nutritional balance in your diet without counting numbers at all. When you're using a normal dinner size plate, split that plate into 3 main categories. Half of your plate should be fruits and veggies, a fourth of your plate lean protein, and a fourth of your plate carbs or starch. I will make sure to leave a list of all the different categories that I just mentioned so you know exactly what goes into each of these categories so it can take all the guesswork out of it. So download that below and you will have an easy go-to guide whenever you need it to follow this plate method. So when you're eating meals, think breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you will use this plate method. And then you may be thinking, okay, well, if I use that for meals, what about for snacks? You don't exactly like use a plate for snacks all the time. So how do you do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. For snacks, what I would recommend is having carb and a protein or a carb and a fat both between breakfast and lunch and between lunch and dinner at very least, because snacks are essentially bridging the gap between meals so you're not hangry and ravenous at your next meal and you're keeping your energy and blood sugar steady throughout the day and not having big spikes or big drops. And your body's preferred source of energy is carbohydrates, so having at least a carb in your snack is going to help raise your energy between meals. The reason that you want to have protein or fat with a carb is that carbs by themselves can process through our body pretty quickly without the help of protein or fat to slow them down. So we want to make sure that we're having carbs paired with one of those things so we can have a slow and steady flow of energy between our meals. The second thing that you can do instead of calorie counting is a photo food journal. Now, the photo food journal that I like to recommend is the See How You Eat app. It's a really simple, easy interface, and I recommend it to clients who kind of want to slowly get away from calorie counting, but they still kind of want that structure of knowing and being mindful of what they eat. It is really, really simple. All you have to do is open up the app and take a picture at breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, and then you have an overall view of what your day looked like food-wise. The thing that I really love about the See How You Eat app is that you can also log some notes within the app. In my Mindful Muscles Academy, which I will link below, we also do a lot of different exercises around mindful eating. So if that's something you're interested, definitely sign up for the Mindful Muscles Academy because you will love how many mindful eating exercises we incorporate throughout the whole thing. A really good thing to start doing when you are starting to have a more mindful approach to eating is to just monitor some of the thoughts that come up in your head when you start to log food or before you're eating a meal. So for example, if you have something like pizza and you start to feel judgments come up in your head, what are you thinking? What emotions are coming up and how is that manifesting itself into your day, or how is that manifesting itself into how you eat? You may think one negative thought one day and that leads to restricting the next day, and then that restricting leads to binge eating and the cycle of restricting and binging. So you may just think, oh, it's just a negative thought, who cares? But it actually is having a really big impact, most likely on your mental health and potentially even your eating habits. So it's something to be mindful of and aware of. And I think that the food and mood log is just a great thing to get started with, especially if you just want that little bit of structure and you're not quite ready to let go of logging entirely. The next thing that I recommend instead of calorie counting, which I've kind of already brushed on in this video, is mindful eating. So I do have a 7-day food and fitness freedom challenge that you can find at the link below. And this is a perfect 7-day guide to help you get started with your mindful eating journey, which is something that I recommend to literally anyone who wants to have a healthier relationship with food and to not stress about food so much, because honestly, mindful eating will just change your life. But if you are new to mindful eating and you really just want to know a couple like quick tips on how to get started, then here is what I have for you. My first step is to eat without distractions. So when you're eating, put your phone away, put your computer away, put the newspaper away, put away all distractions, and really be present within that meal. That is like the most basic form of mindful eating, but it goes a step beyond just being aware in the moment. The second thing that I want you to do is to monitor your thoughts and things that come up around food. So is there any negative thoughts that are coming up when you have a certain food? Or have you ever said something like, wow, I shouldn't really be hungry, I just ate an hour ago? Instead of judging that thought, get curious. So using the same example of, wow, why am I hungry? I just literally ate an hour ago. I shouldn't be hungry. Dig deeper into that thought and think, okay, so I'm hungry an hour after I just ate dinner. Why is that happening? Chances are you probably didn't have enough during the day or didn't have enough filling foods at your meal that you last had. So you can see how pushing aside those judgments and really getting curious as to what is happening in your diet and why it's happening can be really, really helpful. Now, I don't expect you to intuitively know every single thing that you should do or that you should change in response to some of the things that are happening. So again, that is where I highly recommend my Mindful Muscles Academy, because it is your step-by-step guide to going through these healthy habits and learning how to incorporate them into your diet seamlessly and without judgment, and doing a ton of the mindful eating practices that we are talking about today. So definitely, again, highly recommend checking that out. I made it just for you guys so I could walk you all through the mindful eating practices that really helped me transform my own relationship with food and become the dietitian I am today. Let me know in the comments below, what has been your experience transitioning out of calorie counting? What kind of mindset were you in when you were calorie counting, and how has that changed when you have started to use a non-numbers based approach? Thank you so much for chatting with me today. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.